back to the 3x5 Live
podcast.
So last week we chatted about my lessons learned from the Trans Rockies race. And this week we're going
to talk about food as medicine and fuel.
Beautiful. We've gotten a lot of feedback in the Facebook community that, people want to talk about wellness. So we thought we would dive into the topic here.
Right. And so if you've listened to previous podcasts, you know that my journey with diet has been one of growth and learning and understanding. And I think it wasn't until I went through the training at the Institute of Integrative Nutrition when I got my health coaching cert that I really started to look at food in a completely different way. And we talked about the difference between secondary foods and primary foods. But today we're focusing on secondary, which is actually what are you putting into your body? So your primary foods are other sources of nutrition that fuel you, like your relationships and your fitness. And those are some of the ones we've been focusing on a lot. Yeah. And so today I thought, okay, well, let's go to secondary foods. And the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that there is zero one-size-fits-all diet for everybody. Mm-hmm. Just because we eat a specific way. And in fact, even Bryan and I within the same household eat differently, right? But when we're talking about diet, it really is a process of exploration and really listening to your body about what types of foods are fueling you. And so where we started and kind of how my journey of figuring out where my IBS symptoms are coming from and some of my migraines, it started with an elimination diet. And so I went through the diet first. I did a 21-day elimination diet. I used as a framework this diet by Dr. Junger, and it's called the Clean Diet. And I can actually link what it is. But basically, it takes and eliminates foods that are common allergens or things that will cause inflammation or build up of proteins and antibodies in our systems when we do have some type of a flare-up.
Yep.
There are, just so you know, when we did this, it was like 10 years ago. Now they have like Everly tests and food tests that you can actually take that maybe take some of this guesswork out. But I really don't know that it replaces the process of cleaning your system out and cleaning up your diet, because what it also does is it sets this reset for you.
Yes.
So with the diet, the 5 main allergens that most people have are corn, soy, wheat, dairy, and eggs. Those are usually and gluten. Those are the sensitivities that most people have. So it does eliminate that, but it also eliminated alcohol, caffeine. It's basically you're eating 30% like clean protein. For us, it was like tempeh and beans, mostly beans, right? And then the rest of it is basically vegetables. And then slowly, so for 21 days, you do this diet. And the reason why it's that amount of time is because that's how long it takes your body to start to produce proteins that would determine whether or not you're having any type of sensitivity to it.
And there is meats that you can have in this.
Oh yeah. So we did.
Yeah.
So
I think I was eating, and at this time when I did this personally, I think I was eating meat.
You probably were.
Yeah.
So I think the meat, actually, I can even tell you because I have the Clean Diet up in front of you. I think the meats are, organic, hormone-free, grass-fed, lean beef, chicken, wild-caught fish, shellfish, or vegetable sources of protein.
Yeah.
So at the point, I was plant-based. You're right. I think you were still eating meat. So that type of just kind of eliminating anything that's not like a whole food and seeing how your system reacts to that. I can tell you that in doing so, we felt incredible. Like after you do this for 21 days, the first week is really tough. You even might have some detox symptoms. You could have, some things with your skin pop up, or you could smell weird because you're sweating out some toxins, or you might have a hard time sleeping for a couple of days, or you might get headaches. But that's your body truly detoxing. And then on the flip side of that, when you come out of that, you feel so incredible. And then the goal is not to always keep your diet like that, but to, at the very end of it, start to reintroduce stuff.
And this is when I truly became a believer in food as fuel. Prior to this, I knew it was important, but like Jessie was just saying, I felt amazing. And all of a sudden I'm like, holy cow, like what's going on here? And it made me believe in the power of food and how when you start slowly introducing things like Jessie's going to get into here in a second, and then all of a sudden you have an adverse reaction to one thing, you're like, man, I can't have that anymore. Or if I do have that, that's how I'm going to feel. Or this is exactly what's causing this feeling, which I didn't realize this exact food was causing this feeling.
I was just having a conversation the other day with a woman who was talking about how she was having some crazy cystic acne on her face. And the first thing I said to her was, have you ever tried eliminating dairy? And people are like, look at you like you're crazy. But I know for a fact that some people who have some sensitivities to dairy, it manifests with skin, right?
Yep.
It can also manifest with like brain fog. It can manifest with like the whites in your eyes aren't, like the weirdest things can all be related to what you're putting into your body. And so, if you're looking at reasons to try it, it could be, better digestion. It could be increased energy. It could be clearer skin, calming any type of inflammation, better sleep. It also boosts your immune system. So there's all these added benefits to just kind of cleaning up. And that's why it's called the clean diet, your diet. There's a whole cookbook that has some really good meals in it too. And then those foods, again, are gluten, dairy, eggs, soy, processed foods, sugar and alcohol, and usually coffee.
Coffee. Yep. Exactly.
And then the 21 to 23 days, that's how long it usually takes for your body to start to totally detox. And I'm telling you, at the end of the 21 days, like Bryan had so much energy at the end of this that literally it sparked him into running. He's like, I don't know what to do with all this energy. And he wasn't drinking coffee anymore. Yeah. And so that's when you started your running journey, because he had this pent up energy. And then just recognizing that when you do start to reintroduce foods, you want to do them one at a time.
Yes.
So the first thing, let's say you're reintroducing dairy, right? So reintroduce it for the first week, and listen to your body. Keep a food journal or a diary, or document how you're feeling, and not just physically, also emotionally and also like mentally, right? Because sometimes that brain fog, fuzziness, it's so interesting because sometimes you don't even recognize that you're feeling crappy until you do something like this. And then you start to feel really good. And you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that I existed so long feeling like crap. And I got to tell you, it's not easy to stick to this diet forever. And that's not necessarily the goal. The goal is to figure out what foods fuel you the best. And then that's, and revisiting this often. Like you and I get in ruts sometimes. I remember I did it right before we got pregnant with Hadley. I'm like, I just want a reset. I want my system to start over. I want to start to assess where I am. And it can be so powerful in just detoxing your system and then having that clean slate to start fresh.
And then once you start introducing the foods back, do not go to the Phillies game at Dollar Dog Day and eat hot dogs and drink lots of beers with your buddies, because that's a terrible idea.
Terrible idea.
And you'll feel like a freight train hit you the next day. Somebody told me that this happened to them. I don't know who it is, but I highly suggest you not doing that.
It is so interesting because the process of reintroducing it can be pretty intense, because you just eliminated this from your system for almost a month. And so when you introduce the food, people are going to be like, well, people would ask me, well, how do you know you're going to have a sensitivity to it? And I'm like, oh, you will know.
Yeah.
You
just
will know.
Don't introduce them all at once. You have to introduce them one at a time to truly understand which one is impacting you adversely.
Absolutely.
So that's a trick.
And I think we've talked about this before, and I know it's gross, but you can tell a lot about what your system is doing when you look at your poop, right? So I know that
Jessie just said poop.
I'm a big believer in identifying your poop. If you've never looked at your poop, it gives you a good snapshot of what's going on with your digestive system. And so if you're curious of whether or not a food is, interacting with you in a way that might be more harmful than helpful, your poop is a really good place to start. There's actually pictures online. If you look at healthy poops, you can compare your poop to the healthy poop online. I'm serious.
We'll put pictures of healthy poops in the show
No,
notes.
we will not. But I will put the clean program file if you guys are interested. That is just the one that we did. I've also done one by Chris Carr too, the 21-day fix, which I think
it's more plant-based.
It's all plant-based, but this one has the clean, lean meats. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you're paleo, pescatarian, ketogenic, whatever you are, your goal is to figure out what food fuels your body in the best way. And you might be paleo right now and recognize that maybe that isn't the best way for you. Or you might be plant-based and recognize that you're missing some nutrients that you might need from specific types of meat or whatever it is. So do the research, use your body as a giant experiment.
Yep.
And you will feel amazing.
Yep. Yeah. So I think this is Jessie's point. This is a great introduction if you haven't started to explore how food impacts you. I think I did the whole thing 3 times before I really realized what I needed. And then I ended up going plant-based, but that's not going to be for everybody. But it was a complete life changer for me. So
yeah, I agree.
Cool.
Good starting point. And if you have any questions, I love talking about this stuff. And I would be more than happy to help support you in any way that you may need.
Yeah, find Jessie in the Facebook community. Yeah. Reach out to her there, and she'll answer any questions that you might have.
Absolutely.
So until next week, subscribe, share with a friend. Enjoy.
We'll talk to you soon. Have a great week. Bye.
Hello world, wake me up to another good